Welcome to Gypsy Jazz Quick Tips, the show in which I give you one tip and answer one question. I'm your host Christian van Hemert, and in today's episode I discuss a handy tool for improvisation and answer a question about transcribing. An improvisation tool I often use, both for practice and performing, is something I like to call color up, color down, which means that I keep interchanging between two tonal colors. One color I play in an ascending phrase, followed by another color in a descending phrase, and so on and so on. And color can mean many different things. Could be a scale, could be an arpeggio or a pattern or some crazy guitar trick. Anyway, I've got many of those color up, color down combinations, and usually a specific combination is tied to a specific chord or chord progression. The combination I want to show you today is either for a static dominant chord or a chain of dominant chords. And the color up is a diminished arpeggio, which you probably already know if you play Gypsy Jazz, and the color down is the phrygian dominant scale. And if you don't know what it is, that is the fifth mode of the harmonic minor scale. So here's a demonstration of what it sounds like on a static G7 chord. Of course, I wasn't exclusively playing diminished arpeggios and phrygian dominant scales. Instead, I used them as a basis and then added embellishments and chromatic passing tones to taste. And you can do that yourself by just experimenting with this combination and remembering what sounds good to you. Now, this color up, color down combination also works really well on chains of dominant chords. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to play one chorus of Sweet Georgia Brown and use this combination on the beginning chords E7 to A7 to D7, and then later on again E7 to A7. And on the rest of the chords I'm just going to play appropriate phrases, but keep the focus on the dominance. I've got many of those color up, color down combinations, and I promise I'll get to them in later episodes. Now let's get to a question. Do you think you could do a video showing your transcribing process? Like, do you use any looping software or anything to slow down the tune? I have done and still do a lot of transcribing, simply because I think it's one of the best tools we have to get to know a certain style or the style of a certain player intimately. Especially once you start practicing the transcription, you will get to experience what it's like to play a high quality solo with excellent timing and high musicianship. A lot of people ask me if they should write it down. Well, that's certainly a possibility, but I prefer actually to not write it down, but just to sit there with good headphones and my instrument and immediately play the thing I just picked up from the recording. And the reason why I prefer this is because I don't want there to be only connection between what I hear and what I maybe write down, but a direct connection between what I hear and my fingers on the instrument. Now, the process of transcribing can be pretty hard, especially if you've never done it before. So here's two things you could do to make it a little easier on yourself. The first thing you could do is use software to slow the music down. And there's several different programs for that, but the one I use is called Transcribe, and it's great. It's not too expensive. You can slow the music down, you can change the pitch, you can tune it a little bit if it's a little bit out of tune. Happens a lot with old recordings. You can use an EQ to isolate certain instruments, and it has a great user interface. If you want to know more about that program, go to this link. The second tip I have for you is to take it easy on yourself and not transcribe a complete solo in one day or 2 days or even a week, depending on how long the solo is. Instead, give yourself an achievable daily goal. Let's say it's the first solo you're transcribing and you're going to transcribe 1 bar a day or 2 bars a day. You probably make that. Now, if there's a spot in the solo that's very difficult and you can't get past it and you're very frustrated, just move on, move past it and come back to that spot later. Now, another important factor when transcribing a solo is not to only think of the notes you're transcribing. Just listen for all the other things that are important in the solo. Phrasings, maybe you can pick up on certain kind of fingerings or certain kind of picking patterns and try to get those in your playing as well, because it's not the goal to only learn the notes. The goal is to learn the complete solo, including all the subtleties. Thank you for tuning in to Gypsy Jazz Quick Tips. This is the 4th episode, so if you didn't see the first 3, go back and watch those. There are some very nice tips in those as well. And if you enjoyed these episodes and want me to make more, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, even if you watch this on Facebook, because seeing that subscriber number go up is very motivating. See you next time.